the Social Change Working Group, last but not least.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see so many familiar faces and to meet new people on this call. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. There you go. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I'm very happy to be presenting what we hope to be doing moving forward with the Social Change Working Group. There is a current list of members. I must say that I only became the chair a few months ago, or maybe not even a month or two ago. Previous chairs have been Maury Cohen, Anna Davies, Charlotte Jensen, Melanie Yeager, and new people have recently joined this social change working group. So if you want to join, or you're not on this list but would like to be on this list, please do reach out. Very happy to include as many people as possible. And I see a lot of links with some of the other working groups that we've just been hearing about. So one of the issues, I guess, with the social change working group is that social change is such a broad notion. It's a bit of a struggle to think of what key initiatives can really be associated with social change. And yet, at the same time, this broad understanding of change is something that makes the working group attractive. But we did want to sort of narrow things down a little bit more in order to make our work more actionable in the year to come. And thus, we are suggesting a new orientation for the working group around education and learning for social change. And in that category, we're not really only specifically thinking about sustainability in higher education. We're also thinking about any forms of experimentation, any participative methods that encourage forms of learning in relation to systems of sustainable consumption and production. So the people who have sort of come together to give social change its new orientation have a shared understanding of what we want to put under this category of learning, transformative learning potentially, and social change. And we definitely see change as something that is not linear, but rather complex and messy. We don't think change is solely about bringing in technological solutions or introducing technological efficiencies by themselves. And we also try not to over individualize responsibility around social change and nor focus on, let's say, nudging consumers to behave better. We find those approaches somewhat problematic. What we do want to do, however, in BOLD, is think about ways to work across sectors and with different actors in relation to social change, encourage collaboration, collective forms of engagement, and the co-production of knowledge. Being open to diversity and sensitive to power relations in any change process. And I should say that some of us, oh, there's a typo here. Many of us share an understanding, of social practices as the locus of change. So many of the people who you saw on that first page engage with social practice theory in some way and have been using social practice theory to think about co-designing change initiatives. And that leads me to the last point, which is that many of us are not only engaged at the level of classroom teaching, but we're also doing different forms of research action in communities, through research action projects. So this is sort of the starting place of where we want to go in relation to learning and social change. Here are some themes that we will be working on. So general pedagogies for social change in relation to sustainability, teaching methodologies in relation to sustainability, teaching across inter and transdisciplinary, let's say, contexts or methods, engaging with those methods, and then thinking about workshops specifically and how we learn through workshops with different actors. In terms of what we hope to do with our group, there are active members that are currently committed to meet every few months and to agree and operationalize some key actions. But we do want to really open up and broaden the network as much as possible. And we hope to do this through speakers that we might invite to present at our meetings, through a textbook project, which I'll tell you about in a moment, conference participation, etc. And our next talk is in May. The next webinar that we're planning is in May. So to start with the webinar, 2 to 3 talks over the course of the year, inviting guests to reflect on their approach to learning and social change. We've already brainstormed a bunch of names. Other names can be added to this list. If you have ideas for names that you'd like to propose, let us know. The good news is a lot of people that are in this core group already have a lot to share. Alison Brown and Claire Houlihan have been working on change points in relation to social practices. Anna Davies has at least 2 projects, I believe, related to community learning. So there's already a lot going on in our community. And we hope to invite, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but Jen O'Brien in May to tell us about an interdisciplinary program that she's introduced in Manchester around the SDGs. Another thing we'd like to do is have a presence at conferences in relation to social change and learning for sustainable consumption and production. So in the past, Jill Seifang, Lucy Middlemiss, and myself have organized at different conferences, whether at the SCORI conference or European Sociological Association. We've introduced sessions where we're not presenting papers, academic papers, we're presenting very short approaches to teaching. So what we call innovative teaching methods, however you want to define innovation, right? And we want to do something similar the next ERSCP. We'll see if the proposal is accepted, where we're inviting people to present 5 to 10 minute dynamic presentations on teaching and learning in relation to sustainability, and then we'll have a group discussion. And in this process, as with other conferences, we hope to recruit new participants to our working group. There's also a textbook initiative, which Daniel Fisher could have also told you about. He's spearheading this process. We're collecting case studies on innovative teaching practices related to sustainable consumption this time. We have other co-authors with us for, let's say, the overall book project, but some 30, 40 other people have contributed with their cases. And perhaps there's a way, once this textbook is published, to also make some of these findings or insights available and shared through this working group. We have to think about that further, but the textbook should be coming out end of this year, hopefully. I was listening to you and thinking about links to other working groups. Of course, there's a very clear link to communications. Very excited about some of the work that you presented. So there, the links between communication, education, and social change. Political economy also, I think any social change process has to engage with questions of power dynamics. We have people in our team that are very keen on thinking about decolonizing, the classroom and these kinds of approaches. So that's something we want to, engage with quite seriously. And then whether it's cities or circular economies, I definitely think there's opportunity there for, some form of transformative learning to be introduced into the reflections that you're currently having. So I think that's it from me. As you can see, it's we don't have. I admit that I joined this social change group some time ago, but I was not very actively involved. And I know that Maury is here, Charlotte is here. If there's anything you want to say as well about things that might have happened in the past or before my time, please do. And if not, I look forward to the further discussions.